This is the bootleg Devastator from Transformers. But is it any good? First, let's take a look at the individual Constructicons first. Also, thank you to all my patrons who support me. You too can support me for $1 a month. Link in the description below. First, we have the silliest looking of them all, Mixmaster. His head seems to be tilted in a way, and I can't really get it to straighten out. But the face sculpt isn't too bad. He does have some blasters that can stick out. The red eyes and silver paint look nice for the face. He has some nice detail on the chest piece, the abdomen, and the crotch area. Now with the legs, he does look a little bit, goofy. You could bring it out like this, but that's not really accurate. And then you have these two giant gaps there. The only form of articulation this figure has are the ball joints on the shoulders, elbows for the legs, a joint at the thigh, and a knee bend. Here's a look at the back. You have the spinny thingy for the cement, whatever it's called. For transformation, first we're just gonna bring these bits around, tab them into place, bring the arms up, bring in the elbows like that. Same on this side, and just tab them in place. And not a bad looking vehicle mode for Mixmaster. The side has some more detail on it. You can see he has a design for a door. I love doors, I guess. I don't know, man. And I did the arms wrong. Let me adjust that real quick. Whoops. I swear I have my pride as a YouTuber. The back is very simple and plain looking, and the wheels are fake. Next, we have probably the worst looking one of them all, because he doesn't look like a cat girl. Wait, hold on. The head can only move up and down, a hinge joint up here, and ball joints at the arms, elbows, legs, and knees. And then a hinge joint for the feet. The face isn't too bad. This does look kind of nice though. I really like the silver paint and the designs on it. A very poor resemblance of a Decepticon logo there. Not too much details on the side of the arms, and the treads looking like treads. There's some nice hydraulic bits over here. A quick look at the back of the figure, nothing much going on. For this guy, straighten out the feet, like how I pretend to be a straight heterosexual male. Let's bring this down. We can close the head, bring this all the way around, rotate the legs this way, to where these sections are facing on the inside, and tab them into place. Bring the arms in and rotate them to where this side is facing outwards. Bring them in, and here's the alt mode. Once again, fairly basic, some panel working at the top, a little bit of nice detail for the treads. This does have a hinge joint over here and right over there, so it can move up and down. Next up, we have probably the best looking one of them all. You have his bulldozy thing at the back. Once again, a fairly basic looking head. Some simple details on the chest and the arms. It does have some nice silver. That looks like where the Decepticon logo should have been. Maybe we can add some kind of Catgirl logo. You have the wheels on the side of the arms. A quick look at the legs over here. Some nice inside details. The head cannot move on this one. Ball joint for the arms, elbows, legs, and a hinge joint for the knees. Rotation. The feet can also move up and down. And then this can also move as you desire. More on that in the vehicle mode though. Here's a quick look at the back of the figure. Now for this transformation, bring that up, combine the legs, rotate the feet forward, and now we can bring it in, and it might untab itself. Bring the arms in down like that. Same with this one. And here's the vehicle mode on this one. Wow. I do like how this one has 4 individual wheels. The highest number I can count to. A pretty significant amount of designs going on the back section. A little bit more at the top, some of that nice silver, purple for the windows. This can move. It is on 3 hinge joints, so it can move from here, that can bend, and it can move from over here. Here's a look at Scavenger. You know, I think this is actually the worst one. Once again, not much going on in the face side of things. A few little bits of detail on the chest piece, some nice silver. You have some detail for the arms on the shoulders, and right around the wrist area. I don't really like this being straight in the center, and the emptiness here just makes it look extra bad. The legs are supposed to stick out like this, but I feel like that looks kind of wrong. I feel like it looks kind of better like that, but according to the instructions, which are very useless by the way, it is apparently supposed to be like that instead. Since this is a bootleg, I'm not going to give much thought to it. You know, you shouldn't give much thought to anything. Quick look at the back, not much. You have a hinge joint down here for the arms for the transformation, ball joints for the arms again, ball joint for the legs, leg rotation, hinge joint for the knees, and for the feet. For the transformation here, bring this out. Oh, that doesn't look appropriate now. Bring the head in, let's straighten out the legs, rotate them this way, bring in the arms like so, bring this in, rotate it around like that, and then tab them into that piece over there, and here's its alt mode. Once again, some nice detail for the tread tracks, some good detail at the top. You can see the hand turns into this driver section, some really nice detail for this portion over here. Now we have Hook. This is probably one of the better looking ones also. And speaking of Hook, you should subscribe. I'm sorry, that was a terrible segue. The face sculpt on this is much nicer. You can see the tiny bit of details going on, some silver on the chest piece. This one does have some faux wheels, a little bit of nice sculpting for the arms, and some tiny bits of extra detail for the abdomen and the legs. Down over here, you have the top of the vehicle mode for the legs. A look at the back, this is where the hook is, and this does become the front chest piece for Devastator. Once again, ball joints on the arms, legs, rotation there, and an elbow bend. For the transformation, bring in the legs, like so, snap them together, bring the arms in like that, bring them over, and now you can bring this out. Some nice panel working going on the sides, a little bit more on this side, and an overall not bad looking alt mode. And lastly, we have Long Haul, and appropriately being the dump truck of the Constructicons, he has a big dumpy. Now I'm not sure how exactly this is supposed to be displayed. I'm just kind of going to leave it like that and assume that's it. But once again, for a bootleg, I'm not going to put much thought into it. The head on this one is a mainly black color with some red for the visor. It is a very simple head sculpt. You have the front of the vehicle mode for the chest piece with some nice vehicle mode details, a little bit of detail on the shoulders. There's a closer look down at the crotch piece. Not too much going on in this area. Sorry, pal.
If it's any consolation, I can relate.
And then you have the top of the dump truck for the legs, which do also have a nice silver and a bit of panel working. Once again, the backside, nothing much going on, and that should be in. And this is the only figure with the head being on a ball joint. So there is head rotation, but it's very tight. There is a hinge joint for the arms, then once again ball joints for the shoulders and the elbows, a hinge joint for the legs, a knee bend, an inner knee bend for the combined mode, and no thigh rotation on this one. This one I initially had a hard time transforming because, as said earlier, the instructions are straight garbage. We can rotate the head around, although it doesn't really matter. Pull out the arms, rotate them up and bring them back, and bring them down. Bring the legs out, bring those wheels forward, bring this down. You're supposed to bring in the legs first like that, and then combine them. Now we can bring this up and have it in place. And then that seems to be just over there like that, I guess.
It's what the instructions say. They also say to combine the legs before you flip them over, but it's better to do it the way I showed.
And that is why the instructions are awful. This one does have wheels that rotate.
And you're probably tired of me saying detail at this point.
The set does come with a very nice looking purple blaster. I do really like the mold on this, and it's that's gross. As I was saying, I do really like the sculpting and molding of this. It's very clean and retro looking with some nice simple detail throughout it. Looks like there appears to be a hole for probably an effects piece or something. It also comes with two hands for the combined mode,
which we can now get into. We'll start with this.
First, let's bring out the arms. We'll rotate it this way, and this one we rotate that way. Now we can bring this up and bring it forward. Bring the head out. We can rotate that around.
Now we can bring these all the way around.
Unfold the chest piece. For Mixmaster, bring this out and bend it. That's it for that one. For this one, fold this down, bring this up like so.
Get the crotch piece in proper place.
Bring the legs out to the side. Make sure that tabs into place.
We need to get these bits out, and it's easier to use a tool to help. And the instructions for this only show 2 steps.
That was not 2 steps. It was easy to figure out, but still.
For the right arm, all you really have to do is bring this out and connect the handpiece. Rotate this around and then bring this bit out.
For the left arm, pretty much the same. Move that out of the way so you can bring this out and then tab it in place. Attach the right hand.
If you have good hand-eye coordination. And for the right leg, the instructions say you need to do all this stuff, but you don't. This is all you need to do. That's it.
Now to combine everything, just separate that a little bit.
This might fall off like my dwindling sanity, but that's alright. Just snap it in place and put it back on.
Bring in the other leg.
Attach both of the arms. Now we can combine the body pieces. They're supposed to peg into each other, but
it doesn't really work. The connection is not solid at all. Anytime I try to move this figure or position it in any sort of way, it falls off. And then that's loose. And so we're going to take a look at it in 2 halves. Like, this top section seems pretty good. This does have a really nice head sculpt. It is very G1 looking.
I do like how the purple chest piece is not a separate piece and part of one of the Constructicons. If you can get it together, it doesn't look too bad. The proportions do seem to be a little bit off though. I do think it scales decently with the core class figures, even in their Constructicon forms as well. And here he is next to Megatron as well as Battletrap. Check that video out after this one. It's kind of hard to get this figure in any sort of dynamic poses, but for articulation,
the head does have 360 rotation. This can rotate and it can move out. There is a double hinge for the elbows. The arms can rotate. The thumb is on a ball joint. This finger has articulation and these hands are connected. This head keeps coming out. The bottom half doesn't look too bad either. No waist rotation for the figure. These legs can move out. If you move these skirt pieces, the legs can move forward. The legs can also move back. They can hinge out to the side like that. I'm not able to get much of a knee bend off it.
Seems like the bend on this knee is much greater though.
This foot can pivot and move back and forth. This part can pivot and move around as shown earlier. You have rotation there and over. Never mind.
Honestly, the combined mode isn't too bad. It's a little wonky, and I wish it held together in place.
It's really a set it on your shelf and then forget about it kind of thing.
He is able to hold his weapon, and it's definitely going to fall apart right now. I really did want to like this figure, but it sucks, so don't buy it. What doesn't suck though is my video on this episode of Transformers. You should check that out over here.